Hello and welcome to The Wireless. I am Amila Skepe and this is The Light Lunch, yet another episode where I get to speak to Deryn Oliver, who is an international voiceover artist and who has many accolades up her belt. And she has worked with companies such as the United Nations and Bosch, and this is only just to name a few, while also recording over 70 audiobooks. Deryn, welcome to The Wireless. How are you doing?
Hi, thank you so much. Wow, what a wonderful introduction. And it's lovely to be here and to see you. I say I'm looking rather colder than you are over here. It's horrible today. Honestly, the rain is just pouring in Britain today. So yeah, I bet you're lots warmer.
Hectic. But we're glad that you're here. We're ecstatic to have you, get to be in the conversation with us. And so we've been stalking your social media pages, and you have a very cool story on how you started your voiceover work. Tell us more a bit about that.
Okay, well, I have always done sort of amateur dramatics and acting, and even when I was a child, my voice was commented on, like assemblies and that kind of thing. I was often the narrator for that. And anyway, many years later,
Yeah.
I went on a quiz show, a television quiz show. It was hosted by a chap called Bradley Walsh, who some people may have heard of over
Yeah.
here. He's on everything on television. He's a nice bloke. Anyway, and when you go on a quiz show like that, you have to say who you are. I'm sure everybody knows. They sit there and you go, "Hi, my name's Deryn Oliver, and I am from wherever." So anyway, we had to practice that bit. I did that bit. And while we were practicing, Bradley Walsh said, "Oh, haven't you got a lovely voice? Oh, you should do voiceover." And one of the production team had also said the same thing sort of earlier on, because like I say, you do, you have a little practice of things. Anyway, cut a long story short, it was a quiz show. It was brilliant fun. I absolutely loved it. And the amazing thing was I won. I won £12,000 on this
Congrats.
show.
That's a lot.
Oh, it was. Honestly, it was just so thrilling. If you ever get the chance to go on a show like that, you should. It was brilliant. Anyway, I digress. When I was going home on the train, I remember sitting there thinking, wow, this is money that I was not expecting. It's suddenly, it's mine. And I could do something with this. At the time, I was a beauty therapist. I'd had my business for about 20 years.
Wow.
And to be fair, I was getting on a bit. I mean, I'm 56 now, and this was when I was coming up to 50. It was in my late 40s. And I was thinking, I can't do this forever. I can't. It's quite a physical job being a beauty therapist. I thought, I don't want to do this forever. And anyway, I'm rather a believer in taking note of things that come up in your life, taking opportunities when they come,
Yeah.
and listening to people. And I sitting on that train, I honestly remember thinking, voiceover artist. It's something that's been mentioned to me kind of a lot in my life, and I've always just thought, oh, that must be nice, and never thought about it. So anyway, I thought, I wonder if I could do that. And I got home, and after the celebration and the champagne and all the rest of it, I started looking into being a voiceover artist. And I realized that you can actually nowadays do it from home. Whereas back when I was in my 20s and when I had sort of first thought about it back then, you had to be in a big city. You had to be in London or Manchester or Birmingham or anywhere there is, a studio. And I was amazed to find that actually you could, if you put the effort in and bought equipment and so forth and took training, you could become a voiceover artist. So that's basically what I did. I went online and I looked up lots of coaches, and I found a chap called Gary Terzler, who is a voiceover coach, and he it used to be an announcer on a television channel over here, Channel 4, and I contacted him and went to London and did training with him and was mentored by him, and that's how I got into it. It's
Nice.
rather a long, convoluted story, but that's how I did it.
You have an impeccable and unique voice, so I do get where they're coming from. It is beautiful to listen to. I could listen to you for hours.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind.
But also true. But also true. So we
Thank
love
you.
your videos on social media, and I just want to know what made you decide to share your knowledge on voiceover work on your social media pages, considering that some people would like to keep that information to themselves.
Right. I would say that the thing with voiceover
Mm,
is that we're not a competitive lot.
mm,
It's such a friendly, inclusive, helpful industry. I think because everybody has a unique voice. I mean, we're not really in competition
mm,
because it's so individual. If somebody wants my voice, yes, they might look for British,
yes.
slightly posh or RP voice. However, if they listen to me and 10 other people who would fit that description, the other people can be just as good as me,
Mm,
and you say just as good as me, or I could be just as good as them, but they will pick me because for some reason they want my voice. So we're not really in competition with each other. And I do my social videos really for two reasons. And I would have to say, because I am not a voice coach,
yes.
I am not like a lot of voiceover artists kind of set themselves up as training people to be,
Mm-hmm.
to do the same thing. I don't do that. I'm quite happy to help somebody if they contacted me, and I would probably just point them in the direction of somebody I know who does do voiceover training.
Yeah.
So my videos really, they are a little bit of a kind of behind the scenes of what I personally do and how I personally do things.
Mm.
But also, I would have to say it's to show potential buyers that I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm not really aiming them necessarily at other voiceover artists, even though I've got a lot of them following me. And as I say, if they contact me, I'll help them if I can.
Mm-hmm.
But really, it's to show that I know what I'm doing. Really. And also to show my love versatility. I mean, as I'm sure you've seen, some of my videos
Yeah.
are very, very silly. Some of them are actually doing a piece of work that I might have been given.
Yes.
And some of them are just daft and like, but it is, to be fair, they are all truthful. It is the way I am. I do my warm-ups by dancing around, this, this room and singing, because it's a great way to warm your voice up.
Alrighty. Listen, what I'm taking from this is the fact that a voiceover work is indeed a unique niche, and there's something about a person's, voice and the way that they deliver whatever they're talking about, and that's what makes voiceover work unique. If that's what you mean, then I think I've got it.
Yes, sorry, I waffle on.
Okay. Now, I know you touched on the beauty industry that you've also been a part of. Are there any skills that you have taken from your, various industries that you have worked in, including the beauty industry, and that helped you, in polishing your craft on voiceover work?
I would say not in a huge way, except I
Mm-hmm.
suppose I am very used to talking to people. And really, when you are in voiceover, although you're sat here with the mic in front of you, it's not a
Yeah.
person. You have to imagine you're talking to a person. It doesn't
Mm.
matter what you're doing, you are aiming it at them. So I suppose in some ways, from sitting at people's feet doing pedicures and looking up at them and talking, um, I've done an awful lot of chatting to people. I'm very comfortable talking.
Yes.
I would say also, doing amateur dramatics. I've did that for years and years and years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very confident to talk to people. I
Mm.
mean, as I say, it's not quite the same as acting on a stage, because you
Yeah.
don't have to project. It's not quite the same way. It's much more of an intimate job. It really is the idea of talking to one person,
Mm.
the other side of the microphone. That's what I always do. But yeah, so I suppose from the beauty therapy, it's just chatting. I mean, I used to know so many different people. I had an awful lot of clients, and so yeah, I'm very comfortable at speaking to all sorts of people. Really.
That's lovely to hear. And speaking of the voice and, talking and imitating as if, there's somebody in the room with you, what kind of voice work is your favorite?
I would have to say it's character voices,
Yeah.
really. I love doing gaming characters
Uh-huh.
and animation, and I also love doing audiobooks. As I think you said in the introduction, I've done something like 70 of them,
Yeah.
and quite a few were children's books. And doing, children's character voices is great fun.
Mm.
It kind of it's creative. You hear about. You're given the information from the client. You're often given a picture, the story, a description of the character,
Yeah.
and so you have to take all these things and conjure them up in your head as to what would that, I don't know, sea slug, who's got a friend who a dolphin, what do they sound like?
Mm.
And to actually have to really use your imagination, it's such fun. I mean, you can imagine I do a lot of silliness behind and make myself laugh. And sometimes hears me go, "What on earth have you been doing?" And I'll say, "Well, I've been, doing what you'd say, a sea slug or something." That. So yeah, character voices I love, animation and gaming I love. So I suppose that's my favourite, really.
That is lovely to hear. And also, I saw the hint of the example of the sea slug, and that made me laugh. um, so, how important is having the right equipment to successful voiceover work?
Right. It's the most important thing is your space where you are. Where I am is in my studio. It's lovely and colourful because some people have voiceover studios which are rather dark because they have lots of like this foam. I know nobody can see this behind me. I've got this foam here, and mine is red and black.
Yes.
Whereas some people have a whole booth is grey.
Mm.
And I always think, my goodness, that must feel quite depressing at the end of a day if you're surrounded by grey. I like colour, which is why all my walls are all soft. They've all got a foam, acoustic foam in them. I say it's turquoise. But it's the space is the most important thing. You could have the most up-to-date, wonderful microphone, but if you are going to be recording in a massive room, and also your technique is. If I sat over here, you can tell I don't sound quite decent.
Yes.
It's more about, I would say, technique and space than the equipment.
Okay.
Really,
Okay.
that would be my major takeaway.
Lovely. Listen, Deryn, thank you so much for joining our conversation, and thank you for making the time right across the board to, speak to us right here on the wireless. And we appreciate you really. And there's a lot that I've learned, and I'm sure going to use it into my advantage. um, so thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I've loved talking to you, Amila.
Lovely. So that was Deryn Oliver, an international voiceover artist that has recorded over 70 audiobooks and has worked with companies such as the United Nations and Bosch. And that's only just to name a few. And as you've heard it, the greatest technique to voiceover work is the space. And that's just the tip of the advice. Otherwise, there's more to it. And that's how we wrap up our conversation on the Light Lunch. Thank you so much. And I am Amila Skepe once again for The Wireless.